Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, and assembled company, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe. And tonight is Tuesday, or today is Tuesday, and that is our Young Tellers evening. But there are no young tellers at the moment. So nature abhors a vacuum. And while we have our Mexican guest sitting in the cafe in Marrakesh, it's only right that we do a Moroccan story. And I shall tell a Moroccan story while we're waiting for some people that are under 25. Of course, I was under 25 50 years ago. But
You can start, John. We are streaming.
yeah, so we're I learnt this story actually sitting in that very seat, probably the same seat you're sitting in now, in that very cafe. And when we had our festival last February, there was a gentleman, we got covered, a lot of newspapers covered us. And there was a gentleman called Ishmael sitting in a bus station at Agadir on the coast of Morocco. And he read about the festival and came to Marrakesh. And he came to the cafe and he told me this story. And all you need to know is a marcouche is a mythical bird. And of course, an alfalfa field is green stuff that cows eat. And there was a chicken. It's always a good start to a story to say, and there was a chicken. I mean, I know stories from the Mexican-Louisiana border that start, and there was a chicken. And it had made its little nest, and it laid its eggs, and the eggs were about ready to hatch. And as it is with parents, and Phil will know this, that just when you think you've got everything ready, you think of something at the last moment. You think nothing can happen if I just leave the house for a minute. Well, off she went. But when she came back, her eggs had hatched and there were little chicks there. But sitting on them was an enormous marcouche. And she was quite a polite chicken. She said, "Excuse me, marcouche, would you move aside so I can look after my chicks?" And the marcouche said, "Not at all. I'll move aside if you go to the cow and get me some butter." So she went to the cow. She said, "Cow, could you give me some butter that I can give to marcouche? The marcouche will move aside and I can look after my chicks." And you can all shout that out. Unmute yourselves and shout that out when we get there. And the cow said, "Not at all. If you go to the alfalfa field and get me some alfalfa." So she went to the alfalfa field. She said, "Excuse me, could I have some alfalfa to give the cow? The cow will give me some butter. I'll give the butter to marcouche. The marcouche will move aside and I can look after my chicks." And the alfalfa said, "Not at all. If you go to the canal and get the canal to water us." And as you know, in Morocco, water is very important. In fact, that's the only piece of Moroccan I ever learned was, and I can't remember it now, but I will learn it again when I come back in November, was "Give me water, please." And so she went to the canal and said, Canal, can you water the alfalfa field? I'll give the alfalfa to the cow will give me some butter, I'll give the butter to the marcouche will move aside and I can look after my chicks. And the canal said, "Not at all. If you go to the workers and get the workers to water me." So she went to the workers and said, workers, can you clean the canal? The canal will water the alfalfa field, I'll give the alfalfa to the cow will give me some butter, I'll give the butter to marcouche will move aside and I could look after my chicks. Well, and the worker said, "Not at all. If," and this is my favorite bit of workers' rights that I've come across in the whole of my life, "if you get the dancers to dance for us. So she went to the dancers, can you dance for the workers who'll clean the canal will the alfalfa field, the alfalfa, I'll give the alfalfa to the cow give me some butter, I'll give the butter to Marcusha move aside, and I can look after my
Chicks.
And the dancer said, yeah, but it's really stony down by the canal. We'll dance for you if you go to the shoemaker and get him to make us some shoes. So she went to the shoemaker. She said, shoemaker, can you make some shoes for the dancers? That I'll give the dancers, give the shoes to dancers. The dancers will dance for the workers. The workers will clean the canal will water the alfalfa field. I'll give the alfalfa to the cow will give me some butter. I'll give the butter to Marcouche, and the Marcouche will move aside, and I can look after my
Chicks.
Not at all, said the shoemaker, but I'm very hungry. And there's a party going on down the road. It's Bubba C's been celebrating for 9 days now, and can you go to the party and get me some chili couscous? So she went to the party, and he went to the party and said, excuse me, can I have some chili couscous to give to the shoemaker who'll make some shoes for the dancers? The dancers will dance the workers will clean the canal will water the alfalfa field, the alfalfa, I'll give the alfalfa to the cow will give me some butter. I'll give the butter to Marcouche will move aside, and I can look after my
Chicks.
And the people at the party said, yeah, but we haven't got any wood for the fire, and the chili couscous is cold, and we'll give you some chili couscous if you go and get some wood. So she went to her friends, the other chickens, and this is the wisdom of cooperation. It's a kind of union story. It says, she said, could you each get a piece of wood in your beaks and take it to the party? They'll heat the chili couscous with it. They'll light the fire, heat the chili couscous. Chili couscous, the shoemaker will make shoes for the dancers. The dancers will dance for workers. The workers will clean the canal. The canal will water the alfalfa field. I'll give the alfalfa to the cow give me some butter. I'll give the butter, give the Marcouche will move aside. And I could look after my
Chicks.
And now, at this point, each chicken takes one piece of wood in its beak and takes the wood to the party. And they heated the chili
couscous.
Chili couscous. The chili couscous was given to the
shoemaker
who made
shoes
for the
dancers,
who danced for the
workers,
who dance for workers who clean the
canal,
that watered the
that thing,
the alfalfa field.
The alfalfa.
We gave the alfalfa to the
cow.
The cow gave us some
butter.
She gave some butter to the
Marcouche.
Who said you took your time, and the Marcouche moved aside, and at last she could look after her
chicks.
Well, we still have no young people here, but that was a little Moroccan story that I picked up. It has been in my head, and it's one I've been it's one I've been telling all around the festival season this year. Phil, have you got a little tale? Oh, hold on, who's waiting to come in? I know. Hold on, we're being joined by a young teller.
Nope, that's Norman. I guess he's
Princess
R&R. Yes.
Well, right, Norman, you're not young, but I'm glad to see you haven't put blackberries in your hat again and stained it. You can see that was a white hat before he took the Cambridge Folk Festival, and it's now it's now a red hat. So, Princess R, how are we doing? Are you there? So we've got R&R down in Nigeria. We have Nigeria joining us. Hello, David. But Nigeria, are you ready to tell? R&R, rest and recreation. Hold on.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, I know. But it was kind of too.
It was gnawing at me.
Yeah. They're just joining. I think they've got a bit of trouble, bit of internet trouble. But this is kind of wonderful. We're in Washington D.C. at the moment. We're in Marrakesh. We're in Scotland. We're in Reading. We're in wherever David is down in Shropshire, I think.
What the heck?
And we've got Princess R&R. The two who are joining us from Nigeria. And I have a special request to them when they come on. And so I need to. They're just having. It says they're joining.
Do you want a wee tale while they join?
Yeah, well, let's have a wee tale.
A wee tale, yes, it is called a wee tale.
Yes.
There's this farmer. He's such a dedicated farmer. He's got loads and loads of sheep. And this day he goes out to feed his sheep and he's counting them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 99. Where's the 100th one? It's missing. So he counts again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 98, 99. He's still missing the 100th one. So he goes looking for his sheep because there's no way he's going to be missing his 100th sheep. So he goes looking for it and he goes over the hill and down the hill and round the corner and through the woods and back and forth. And there he goes, he finds it in the most awkward place that a sheep could ever get lost. And it is layered up till its belly in mud. So the farmer gets off his jacket and he gets in there aside that sheep and he starts pulling it out. And he pulls and he pulls and he pulls and he can't get it out. So he takes off his shirt and he's doing like Simmet and he grabs hold of that sheep and he pulls and he pulls and he pulls and he still can't get that sheep out. So he strips off his shirt and he is now naked for the waist up and he grabs hold of the tail of that sheep and he pulls and he pulls and he pulls and up pops the sheep's tail. And that's how sheep have wee tails, and this is why the story is called A Wee Tale.
Oh. Thank you. Now, we're now going, I think we can go to Nigeria now. If you can unmute yourself and make yourself visible again. We saw 2 princesses there. Oh, well.
Good evening, everyone.
Who's going to tell? Who is going to tell first?
She's going to tell first.
She is going to tell first. Now, before you start, I've got a special request. In a few weeks' time, on Saturday, the 27th of August, I would love Nigeria to be coming on. We're doing a special program which we're broadcasting into a big folk festival in England. Do you think you can join us for that? I will put it on Facebook and let you know and remind you the week before. But right now, we're over to Nigeria for one of R&R. And now they're on 2 devices and I'm not sure what to be looking at. There we go. Who's telling first? Please tell.
Good evening, everyone. I am here to tell a story called Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time, there were two children and a boy called a boy called Hansel and a girl called Gretel. They lived with their father and stepmother in a little cottage at the edge of the forest. Their father was a woodcutter and he was very poor. One day he had so little money that he could no longer give his family enough to eat. He had very little money and he could no longer feed his family. So one night he thought and thought what he would do. The stepmother, who didn't really like the children, said that tomorrow we would put them in the deep part of of the forest, and then we'll leave them there and come home. And then the woodcutter pleaded to the stepmother, but the stepmother didn't agree with him, so he had to agree with her. Because the stepmother didn't like the children very much. And then Hansel and Gretel overheard this. Gretel began to cry. Hansel said, "Don't cry. Don't worry, we'll find our way home." So he went outside while the woodcutter and stepmother were asleep. Hansel went outside and put some lots of as much stores as he could carry and put it in his pocket. So he went back to sleep. The next morning, the stepmother woke the children up and said that we are going to the forest to cut wood. And as they set off, Hansel was moving really slowly. He was moving really slowly. And then the woodcutter asked, "Why are you lagging behind?"
It is not Sırf kısmı olsaydı.
Then Hansel said, I'm looking at my white cat on the roof. I'm trying to say goodbye to her. But the stepmother said, "That is not a cat, you silly boy. It is the sun shining on the white roof." But actually, Hansel wasn't really looking at a cat. Anytime he dropped a pebble on the road. So the woodcutter and the stepmother went to a deep part of the forest. They lit a fire so that they would not stay cold, and then the stepmother said, "We are going to cut wood. We are going to cut wood. We will come back when we are ready." So they went. The two children were really hungry and they wanted to go home. Gretel was really hungry. Then Hansel said, "Don't worry, wait until the moon is shining. We will find our way home." So they followed the tracks of the stones and they found their way back home. stepmother said, "You naughty children, where have you been?" But the woodcutter was really happy to have his children back, as his heart was broken when he had to agree that they would leave them in the forest. And then, so they had a life, and they continued to have their life, and then, but the woodcutter became poor to the extent that he only had half a loaf of bread left. Then the stepmother whispered, "We will have to take them to a deeper back forest." And then they argued, but the woodcutter had to agree with the stepmother. The woodcutter had to agree with the stepmother. And so they set off. "We are going to cut wood. We will be ready. We will come when you're ready." And they gave him a little portion they gave them little tiny pieces of bread, and they went. Hansel, who wasn't able to carry the stones because in the night, because the stepmother had locked the front door, so he took his piece of bread and tore them into pieces and put them on the floor. And so the same thing happened. But Hansel said, "Don't worry, when the moon is shining, we will find our way home." But as they wanted to follow the crumbs of bread, all the birds had already eaten all the crumbs of bread. And Gretel cried bitterly. "Don't worry, don't cry," said Hansel. "We will still be able to live." So they slept that night. They woke up, they were extremely hungry. They felt like they would die of hunger. And then they walked and walked, looking for somewhere to eat. Then they saw a house that was made of bread. The cottage was made of bread and cakes, and the windows were made of sugar. So they just went. They ate some pieces of the cakes and bread and sugar. And then an old woman came out of the cottage. Hansel and Gretel were so frightened they dropped what they're eating. But the old woman, who seemed nice, wasn't nice, but she let them in. They ate a huge meal of pancakes and other things. And then she sent them to sleep. But as they didn't know that the old woman was a witch who liked trapping children, and she had a bad sense of sight but a good sense of smell, so she can smell children. So when they woke up, the witch locked Hansel in a cage, and then she told Gretel, "You will make good food for your brother until he is fat enough for me to eat." Gretel cried bitterly, but the witch only laughed at her tears. They only laughed at her tears. And then what since the witch had a very bad sight, very bad sight, she told Hansel to stick out his finger whether he was fat enough for her to eat. He stuck out his finger. He stuck out a bone, but because the witch had a really bad eyesight, the bone looked as if it was his finger. And then weeks passed, and he stuck the same bone. But now the witch was impatient. She said that I am going to kill Hansel and eat him. Hey, Gretel, go put the oven on. Go preheat the oven. I am going to cook bread and eat it together with Hansel. And then, after some time, the witch told Gretel to go and check whether the fire is hot. But her plan was really to throw Gretel into the oven and eat her as well as Hansel. But Gretel was a smart little girl, and she was thinking what the witch was thinking. Then she said, I can't put my head in there. I'm too big. And then the witch said, you naughty girl, can't you see I can even fit there myself? And then the witch stuck her head into the oven for her to see. Gretel gave a hard push and bolted the oven door so the witch wouldn't get out. So she told Hansel, Hansel, I'm going to unlock the door, then we can go home. Then she unlocked a room which she kept the key of where she locked Hansel in. She kept the key there, and then she broke it with something from. She broke the door, and then she took the key and unlocked Hansel. And Hansel sprang out like a bird. He was happy. And then they went into a room. They saw all types of gold, silver, diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and then Hansel filled his pockets with as much as they can carry with the gold and other things, while Gretel filled her pocket. Little cottage again. The woodcutter was overjoyed to see them, and then because the stepmother had died and he was all alone, but now he was happy, and he was happy that the children were back home. Seeing that the children shook their pockets and aprons, and out fell all the gold, silver, diamonds, emeralds, and rubies. Ever after.
Whoa, whoa. That is a really long and complicated story to keep in your head, and you got the whole sequence right. And I especially like the idea of the incinerated witch. So well done, you. Now, is your sister there ready to tell another story? Is your sister next to you? And there is the sister, as if by magic. The magic of Zoom, suddenly we have swap sisters. And have you got a story for us? Now, you know your younger sister is catching up with you. Now, I mean, there's she's now getting these really long, complicated stories in her head. So you better step up to the plate. And before you go any further, did you catch that bit about on the 27th of on Saturday the 27th of 5 o'clock? It'd be really great if you could join a special for a festival in we're zooming into a festival in England. Could you do that, do you think? Right. Anyway, now you've gone away. I've frightened you off. I know you're back. Please tell your story.
My story is about a little girl. Pretty little girl. A little girl with shiny golden locks. A little girl who loved to play. A little girl who loved adventure. One day, she left her house and was wandering around. All of a sudden, she found herself in front of a house. She didn't know who the house belonged to, but she decided to enter. She knocked on the door. No response. She knocked again. Still no response, so she decided to take a look. She opened the door and walked in. She saw that there were sets of everything. There were 3 chairs, 3 tables, 3 plates, 3 of every single thing. She wondered, whose house could this be? She decided to walk into the kitchen. She saw 3 bowls of porridge. This porridge looks delicious. She picked up the smallest bowl and she tasted it. She picked up the biggest bowl and she tasted it. This porridge is too hot. She moved on to the second bowl, tasted it. This porridge is too cold. She picked up a tiny bowl and she tasted it. This one's just right. She ate up all the porridge, and by then she was feeling so full. She decided to take a rest. She saw 3 sets of chairs. She sat on the first chair. This chair is too hard. She sat in the second chair. This chair is too soft. And she sat in the third chair. This one is just right. But all of a sudden, the chair broke because she was too heavy for it. And she decided to go into the bedroom where she found 3 beds. Sat in the first one, and it was very uncomfortable. Sat in the second one, it was also uncomfortable. But she sat in the third one, and she felt very comfortable. This one's just right, she said to herself. And she decided to take a nap. She slept for ages and wasn't aware of the time, and she was woken by a sound. The owners of the house had returned, and they were the 3 bears: the daddy bear, the mommy bear, and the baby bear. They found their house door open and walked in. They had seen that she had tasted their porridges and had finished baby bear's porridge. Baby bear wasn't happy at all. And he saw his chair broken and he started to cry. Mommy Bear and Daddy Bear were beginning to get curious because they were very sure they left their house in a good state. So they took a little, tour to the bedroom, and lo and behold, was Goldilocks sleeping very comfortable in the bed of Baby Bear. She woke up with the start, saw the three bears, got frightened, and ran away. The end.
Whoa, that's a lovely version of Goldilocks. I love that. Well, as our representatives tonight, so Nigeria represented the young tellers this evening. Phil, have you got anything to say to our young Nigerian tellers? I shouldn't have asked you as you popped a biscuit into your mouth.
Got something in my mouth. I thoroughly enjoyed both your stories. Thank you very much. And nice to see you again. It's been a while since I've been on, so great to see you telling again.
Yeah, and don't you think how they get more expression and more, you know, just get stronger and more confident as the weeks progress.
Yes,
Fantastic. Yes. Norman, as our Canadian representative, what do you think? What do you think of our young?
Currently residing in Scotland. I thought both stories were well told. I liked the continuity and staying on top of the story, even when there was interruptions and whatnot at the first story. That was doing very well. And so Princess R did very well. Princess R, I liked your telling of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Again, it was told with continuity, good rhythm of voice, and I saw all the pictures that you were describing.
Yes, now we'll move to Morocco. Waleed, is anyone at the cafe want to make a comment? We can't see you, can't hear you, but that's okay. We'll move on to David. David, would you like to say something?
I made for to go to people right now at the moon garden and where to do valley doing the where to.
Thank you, David. And finally, we better ask Babasi, because Babasi's always got something to say. So you've only got 3 hours to gosh.
All right, so Princess R and Princess R. So the younger princess, I like the way you're becoming more comfortable and more confident in the telling of your stories. I like listening to your tone and watching the expressions on your face. Keep up the good work. To Princess R, the older Princess R, I love the way that your storytelling is becoming very conversational. I mean, you tell the story like you're sitting across the table from me and you're saying, you know what happened today? And you're very conversational and very relaxed. Also, I like the way your eyes twinkle while you tell the story. You both have wonderful smiles. And I love the way that although you're sisters, you're developing distinct and different ways of telling stories. Keep up the good work. This is why I call you the royal family of R and R.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just brilliant. And I'm sorry there weren't more people on, but it's summer, so it's a bit hit and miss who's here. But we will try and have some extra people for, I'll try and get Yasname and Davija down for that Saturday one, 27th. We can get Davija and Yasname and yourselves on that Saturday. I think it'll make a great program, and it's going to be broadcasted. I'll tell you how it's going to work. It's going to be on a big screen in a tent on a big folk festival in East Anglia. Norman's going to be there live, but he won't be on. he won't be on the screen. What we're doing is we're broadcasting from the world into the festival. So,
Oh,
and I need to talk to you about that, but this is the children's one. I want to just get our young tellers, because our young tellers are going to be Saturday at 5 o'clock. So but meanwhile, just a huge round of applause for our two tellers in
And-
Nigeria.
and John, I consider this part of my birthday celebration. What better present than to have Princess Ara and Princess R tell tales? I just,
Fantastic.
yes.
So what have we got coming up? Well, we've got Deborah Weller on Friday from Texas, telling stories for children. We've got our regular worldwide story round on Sunday, hosted by Mike Rust. And of course, next Tuesday, of course, we have the most important day of the week, our International Young Tellers.
Woo-hoo!
And so hopefully we'll have more there, but we will have the princesses R and R just down there. They are fantastic. You're amazing. And thank you for gracing us with your presence. And Waleed, thank you for whatever you're doing down in the cafe, and bringing our Mexican guest in for the evening. And and I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you. And please visit us again next time you happen to be passing through Marrakesh. Or come. How long are you in Marrakesh for?
No, only for 1 week, and actually I went to the Amazigh community. So very few days in Marrakesh.
Oh, nice. Well, consider the cafe as a home away from home.
It feels like.
You know, Waleed and Kamal and Amima, they are, they treat everyone as if they've invited people into their house. So, please visit the cafe again. Meanwhile, thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to go off. Thank you, whoever was driving the magic carpet today, whether it was Ali or whether it was Waleed, but someone was driving the virtual magic carpet today. And meanwhile, we'll see you whenever we're on. Lovely. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye bye.